actually great. Now Quark is busy taking that camp down, whereas DAB, as we can see here, is already taking the second camp for Leftovers. Mercenary control for the red team is just fantastic right now.
Giants are finally cleaned up in the top left corner, but as you mentioned, control in the south is something that Zealots to deal with. They'll send Robodoba down there to toss a Giant over. But already, the rest of the Leftovers are grouping in the middle, trying to find some way to get this middle pushed in. But Zealots doing pretty good in defense. Now they should be able to rotate over a couple members and work on this middle lane. And if they don't lose too much in the turrets, they'll have their own night camp that they can have push in the middle lane after this tribute spawns and try to get their own turret pickup.
Now, one of the problems, of course, that the Leftovers had with how many camps they took is that they just rotated away from the camps they just claimed. So those were defenseless on lane, and that's one of the reasons why it was so easy for Leftovers to save them. There comes a quick warp as DAB had to warp out, but Leftovers now claiming those camps, taking all of them down, and we are, again, on pretty even experience here. Leftovers didn't quite get as much value out of the camps they took as we were hoping for, but they at least put some pressure onto these front walls.
Zealots have an opportunity, though, to jump up in experience here. Don't forget about the Hawk in the top lane, that global pressure. They're going to try their best to slow down that tribute grabbing. In fact, the Leftovers are actually jumping into this bush here, trying to stop them from running to this choke. Robodoba's going to have to force the issue, and finally he does. Push on in. Even a root coming in there, as Shad was expecting possibly a throw to pop in.
Yeah, Quark is far out. DAB starts coming in too. The Haka hasn't committed yet, but Shad is about to go down. And Mopsio cuts his path of retreat off. Link, on the other hand, also falls, and that's the reset for Li Ming that the Zealots wanted to get. Early kill trades here, as the Haka is now joining the fight as well, and that's the drag, and DAB is low, and he dies as well.
He gets taken out, both supports down for both of our teams, and Leftovers find themselves on the worst trade of it. As Phoenix also gets picked off, Zealots immediately grab this tribute. There it goes. They jump up 1-0 over their opponents and also find some experience as they're about to hit level 7.
Yeah, Quacknick's already at the bot lane trying to put these auto attacks on Greymane to good use, sniping another tower, and that's super important for them right now. So job well done by the Zealots, claiming leading experience, taking the first tribute, and also establishing a very solid map presence for themselves now.
Zarmia also trying to make sure to soak both these waves as the Night Camp's meet is the next thing to grab for Zealots. Yep, they already head on over there with the tribute spawning too. This will be good pressure for them. All they need to Haka to do is deal with that lane on the top. They can rotate down and try to be annoying there.
The timings are working out quite nicely for them. They have the level 7, they can claim the Night Camp. It's going to push through the mid lane as we see the tribute on the map. So this is really cool for them. They just rotate from one spot to the next, taking the towers at the bot lane, rotate to the Night Camp, tap quickly at your own well, and then move back into a tribute fight, whereas Leftovers are now in that awkward position where, first of all, the Haka is pushing against them at the top lane, gets an additional wave, Camp is going through the middle, and there's a Tributor as well. Leftovers are in a very awkward spot. But they are zoning really nicely. Polypos, on the other hand, does not go for the channel.
They actually want to force this fight, and they step up, but Zealots are able to cut away, and Malfurion will be able to top them off, and with the Haka coming in as well, Zealots have brought all 5. If they can get one more interruption, Robodoba can't step up into that choke and grab it. However, with the Night Camp pushing in the middle, Zealots are trying to slow Leftovers down to rotate in. But Leftovers, they grab the tribute, and they should be able to deal with the middle wave fine.
I think the original cancel on the channel was also a bit of a mistake. It works out because Zealots are not going for an additional interrupt. But if they would have been able to interrupt again, then that Night Camp would have gotten even more value than it already does, because that spell aura still helps the Zealots now to safely push the entire wall down. And that just increases the lead and the experience that the Zealots already have. But at least the Leftovers are able to get a tribute for themselves. But now you can already tell that with a half-level lead, Zealots could try and stall this out a bit, get level 10 through the Haka at the bot lane, and then fight for this with an advantage. So Leftovers are going to, if they commit to this, try and make this a really quick grab and a quick kill.
Leftovers will clear out the middle lane first before they do so, and it looks like they are going to try and fight over this area. Need to be a bit careful. Garrosh around this bush area can toss you into the turrets on the left side, and if you don't have the mobility, you will get caught out. So they're going to play it slow, but Kidney and Bizo want to check out those bushes and find out where exactly Robodoba is on the Garrosh.
The Haka's at the bot lane now, so they want level 10.
Yeah.
And that is why Polypos has to get the channel here together with Link right now, because if the interrupt is there, then you risk playing against level 10 abilities, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, there they go. They actually go without the level 10. They don't have to right now, but they're trying to. The drag does not connect. Zarmany misses it, and Polypos walks away here. Now this is a bit of a misplay. If they connect the drag and get a kill, you can make a good argument for it working out. But the problem is, the bot lane is still pushing. That's where Siege Giant camp was taken by Leftovers early. If the Zealots let the Tribute go, but they still stay on the bot lane and grab experience, get the early level 10, that's fine. If the Zealots get level 10 first and then try to force the fight, they have a good chance of getting a kill. But as it happens, they committed quite a few resources and negated a little bit of the advantage they had to try and get a kill that they didn't get, so they really end up with a negative net value here. And now we have another Tribute spawning, and Leftovers by now have their own level 10, so we are pretty much on eye level when it comes to the actual engagement.
I feel like Zealots thought they had a little bit more time. Li Ming was trying to rotate in and delay that Tribute from being grabbed, but Polybus did such a good job of denying her from moving up and also taking the shots coming forward that Leftovers were able to get that Tribute, and as all they had to do there was dodge the drag. But hang on, an immediate engage on Murden, and he gets melted.
Robodoba is a god. We're going to talk about this in just a second, but here comes the jet propulsion, and Shat is low. X-Strike, and once again, Robodoba is just a boss. This guy is insane. Bunker is down. Here comes the seven-sided though, and despite his best efforts, Garrosh finally falls as Leftovers start to turn this around. They get the double kill against their Haka. So at the end of the day, the fight's still in favor of Leftovers. But boy, is this kid good on that hero.
Seven-sided strike, though, comes in and knocks him on his rear.
But here's the thing, like, now they are cursed, so there's a couple of aspects with the curse as well. But let's talk about Robodoba first. He sees Muradin coming in, and Muradin actually starts to hit the Stormbolt to double-check the bush. Indomitable comes out, he dodges the Stormbolt, moves in, creates the kill against Muradin. And that was all him. Dodging the Stormbolt, going in, dropping him, making sure that he gets taunted. No way for Mobster to get out of there. Quick kill, and then he also saves Malfurion by throwing him out just half a second later. Robodoba just, I mean, he plays that hero to perfection. The fight was still turned around by Leftovers though.
Yep.
And now we have a curse against Zealots, and this is where the Leftovers are going to start and build that momentum. And a big problem here is we had 3 Tributes where Zealots could have done a better job of interrupting. And they fell short several times. And now this is the problem that they have with that, because now all of a sudden they are 1.5 levels behind, they're Talon behind, all their forts have been eliminated, the map is in complete control of Leftovers, and they can even take a boss on the back of it.
I mean, they played that perfectly. They had Karazim in the top left corner, sitting on the mini wave in the back to make sure to soak that experience, but also to make sure that fort would go down. They got all 3 waves pushing forward, which gave them a huge jump in experience, a level and a half. And then, after they knew they've gotten everything they can possibly get off the curse, they pull away and grab the boss at the top right, and they leave Polybus in the bottom left corner to make sure they can go for a double boss play. That was a beautiful macro from Leftovers as they are setting themselves up to even get the second boss the moment that Zealots reveal that they're defending the top lane.
Absolutely agree. Leftovers plays this extremely well. And we come back to the first 2 Tributes again. The Zealots thought they could interrupt, and they were too far away. They got zoned out. And that's, of course, partly because Leftovers zoned extremely well and did a great job creating that space for the heroes that channeled. But at the same time, it's also a bit of a miscalculation from the Zealots' perspective, where they just didn't really commit heavily enough. The Haka's Burrow to the second Tribute at the top comes to mind again. If you want to contest, bury quicker. If you are not willing to contest or you want to get the advantage in experience, then wait it out and get the value at the bot lane. But the way they did it, they got neither. So it was just a pretty weird attempt by them to get something done there. And it all hinged on one Tong in the end that didn't connect, and then they didn't get any value whatsoever. Now they have to face the music, which means double boss and a level behind.
And Leftovers will push. They even delay grabbing this boss just to make sure. Then clear out the middle Night Camp that was pushing in, and the rest of the team will group up now and start to break down these turrets. Now, the goal isn't to really get a keep. That'd be nice. The goal here is to grab the turrets, open everything up, and make sure that the next curse that they do get should be effective. If they can find a kill here, that would be wonderful. But the Leftovers have to play it safe with Zealots being on an even talent tier and the Haka coming back. They'll go ahead and back up after taking the keep wall.
And of course, the Haka is really one of the big factors that keeps Zealots in the game here. He has already shown quite a lot of experience that he soaked in the lanes. One of the reasons why he came back in the first place was because there wasn't anything more to be gotten in the mid and the top lane. He already pushed those out as far as he was willing to go. And then we have still that camp up at the top pushing through here. Now there's another Tribute at the bot lane where the Leftovers have now to decide, do they even want to go for it? Because we see Blaze moving top to deal with the Siege Giant since they're not willing to give that fort up. So the Leftovers are very likely to let this one slide.
Especially with 16 not being here, Giants already being cleared up in the top lane. Fort takes a little bit of damage, just a scratch though. And Leftovers instead take everything else on the map. Grab Giants, get mercenary camps, get things pushing out so they can work on the tribute afterwards. Now, Mopsio's here in the bottom lane. He's going to go ahead and back on home and wait to group up with the rest of his teammates. But Leftovers, so far, are just playing for that lead.
Yeah, the Zealots, of course, now are just trying to get experience by themselves. Ideally, they would take a few of the structures down. That's the dream, because that's extra experience that you can gather. But they also have to play around their global again. And really, the global factor is what's so crucial right now for the later stage of the game. But Leftovers now have given up one tribute because they wanted 16. So that also means that if once you have 16, you need to do something with it. You can't just simply sit there and allow your opponent to move in. So they use the spell aura of the night camp that they just took and start to move through another wall in the middle of the map here. So they're actually aggressively pushing towards the keep again.
They grab one turret, should be able to grab a second one too. Zealots doing their best here to defend. Zarmy can come over here and drag the spell knight out of camp just to make sure nothing happens. They clear that out pretty darn well. So only one turret goes down, second one still stands, but the gate is open, and now Leftovers can rotate over and start to grab the tributes. There is some time here for them to maybe get a second tribute afterwards, but Zealots have at least put themselves in a position that when it comes to that third tribute, that second curse that comes in from Leftovers, they should be on an even talent here, which means that's when they can fight. So it's all about patience for Zealots and not getting picked out.
Exactly. So right now it's level 16. Zealots should not contest here. They're gonna try and double check if someone maybe sneaks in, but you can see that Mopsio is anchoring at the side, so Link can safely channel that through. And in the meantime, we have up to the top, the Haka, of course, starting to get the experience again for them. As long as they have some vision, and they do now in the mid lane, he knows that he's going to be safe to push another wave out. We have already Blaze sitting in the bush down to the bottom of the map. But a very patient play by Zealots now. Just trying to get a few of these mercenaries, trying to get some experience. They know that they still have a little bit of time before the next tribute is spawning on the map.
Let's get an eye on these boss timings really quick, just to make sure we can count for those. 40 seconds for the top right boss, which will be coming in after the second tribute comes in. So Leftovers already positioning up there in the top right corner, one for the tribute, but also to keep those lanes pushed out. They have Blaze in a safe position. Idea being if they grab this tribute, and Zealots don't come over, they can move in for a boss.
Yeah, and here's gonna come level 16 thanks to the Haka at the bot lane. Vision has been granted on Leftovers heroes thanks to the top push that they just executed against the Siege Giant. Now the Haka's at the bot lane, gets level 16 for his team, and this is where the Leftovers can come back into this. Sorry, Zealots, that is. If they get just one team, if they just win one fight, if they take a tribute, it's curse immediately. And that's why they're looking for this right now. We have a camp pushing through the mid lane. The Haka can go in. Blaze is missing right now. The Haka still waiting it out at the bot lane. No engage just yet. And again, this zone control that we highlighted from Leftovers earlier as the Haka is starting to make his way to the top.
Here's the Haka. Goes straight for the drag. Lakini is able to dodge it. Jumps away. Zarmany taking some damage on that front line while Mopsio pops that avatar and is trying to force a fight. Bus and crew dance back and forth.
Big push in the mid lane still. The fort is down now, and that camp is moving towards the keep wall. But we still have the fight over the tribute, and this is a fight that Leftovers have to take, or they're going to curse. The taunt, the kill, and down goes Genji.
DAB will pop the Planet Cracker there, getting a little bit of damage there, but nothing too substantial. Zealots immediately step up, and they want this tribute. This will give them a curse. And with that camp in the middle lane still pushing in, that means that this keep is going to be under fire.
Exactly, and now of course it's all about getting structures. Bot lane, super important, get the fort here. And even a boss attempt right now by Zealots already trying to push with the boss. Mopsio's there and sees it, but they don't have Genji. They cannot really contest that, but it forces some of the resources of Leftovers to that top position.
Mopsio thinking about it with the root to come out. He's going to fully back up, which is trying to buy the attention of Zealots, make sure they are all five here, allows his team some time to work on grabbing the Giants to help out with that bottom lane. Once the Giants get picked up, that should help clear out the minions that will be pushing in towards them. They can leave one member down if they need to, but this allows them to focus on this boss in the top right. The main objective for Leftovers here is just not to lose any keeps, but this boss is definitely threatening that idea.
Yeah, they're going even for a double boss attempt right now, so they can push through the bot lane. But you can see in experience already that the entire advantage that we had from the Leftovers is already negated. So that was really a good kill for the Zealots. That taunt again, set up by Robadoba, allowed them to get the kill against Genji and then get the curse right after that through the tribute. And that's of course pressure now at the bot lane as the Haka is pushing the lane out as we speak. The top lane is already being assailed here. Zealots are now in a really good position to get value through the bottom push.
So this first boss gets cleaned up. The Zealots are already down here. Luckily, we know Giants be able to grab it out. Leftovers should be able to set for the defense. Zarmany already here in the front. And they'll start sieging away on top of these keep turrets. Leftovers, their siege isn't the greatest. Sure, they have Phoenix, they have Genji that can shoot a little bit, and of course, you have the ability to clear out these mini-waves, but they may have to force a fight, and they do. They jump straight on in. Mopsio goes in, there's going to be the drag, he gets taunted, but he's just fine, he has the Avatar.
And the Planet Cracker didn't really give them enough damage here, so once again, they're going for Mopsio. He barely jumps out, but here comes the shot fired. Bunker is being used. Every single heroic ability on the side of the Leftovers has already been fired. We still have the Twilight Dream, and we have Isolation, plus the Cursed Bullet ready for the Zealots. They're going for the keep here, and they should be able to get it.
Easily here. Zomni holding the right side, Robodoba holding the left, making sure they're the front line. No way for Leftovers to move in and put too much damage on it. The keep will fall, and Leftovers have to deal with it. They kite backwards, and they'll deal with the boss before it scratches their core. But now they have catapults pushing in their lanes, and they don't have that global like Zealots do.
Exactly. So the Zealots have still the global advantage, and they're going to hit 20 fast. They have now a situation where they control the map for the next minute or so. And the Leftovers are trying to get some counter pressure on the lanes by taking the camp. Also some experience here, where we have a bit of a trap set up down at the bottom. They wait for a rotation. Now they see that the camp has taken, and they're still patiently waiting. They're starting to rotate in the middle, I'd say. No? Still waiting around and hoping that someone is going to try and re-grab vision and then take him down.
Playing it slow, though. The Leftovers know that 20. Something's right around the corner for the Zealots. If one member falls, the Zealots get resets, can force a fight. The Zealots just controlling the middle of the map here. This should give them that 20 as they clear that out. Leftovers, on the other hand, with that being said, should be able just to sit back, play it patiently, soak all the lanes. You have Mopsio grabbing the top. Blaze already in the bottom lane. They can give away this tribute. They don't have to force it until they hit 20. But they do have time to actually move in.
Yeah, the thing is there's not really too much on the map for the Zealots to get with level 20. The advantage is not big enough. Even that tribute can be contested if Leftovers want to. But the 20 allows the Zealots now to get that position a bit earlier if they really want to. But you can already tell by Mopsio's positioning here that the Leftovers feel confident that they can get the experience and then fight for it. But Genji needs to be careful because Garrosh is looking for that taunt already. Robodoba doesn't quite get it. Forces Blick Hitney back though. Now they can engage into the fight itself again. 20 is ready for both of them.
There we go. Link will start the channel here. Chris should be able to delay it. Goes out with a full combo. Link able to sidestep and backs away. The rest of the team is trying to push up a little bit and grab bush control of this area. Yeah, comes out, and Robodoba still has that toss.
Yeah, again, Link gets the channel through. A little bit too late, the interrupt that we saw from Li Ming.
There we go. 2 out of 3. Leftovers are 1 tribute away from getting Curse. They do have to get control of the map again, though. That is in the favor of Zealots right now. A Giant's pushing in the top lane, and Catapult's starting to really group up in the bottom right.
Now, the tribute that was just taken is important in the sense that the next one is going to curse the Zealots again. So that's a bit of an uncomfortable spot for them. They could really... This is one of the things that they have failed to do throughout that series, to properly stack cooldowns to make sure that they get the interrupt. Even the setup with Li Ming, I mean, it's a matter of what you want to do. Do you want to really unleash a combo on the target, or do you just like use one shot and then wait with the cooldown for the next so that you have continuous interrupts against their opponent? Didn't work out for them just yet, but it's all about the kills. And here's the taunt! And nearly the kill, but the X-Strike barely getting away. And this time Planet Cracker is just an absolute boss move. Gaming goes down, Malfurion falls. Perfect play by DAB. Robodoba is dead as well. That's an easy triple kill.
Black Kidney dropping down the X-Strike, jumps straight into the bunker that Polyboss puts down for him. That's going to be the tribute with 3 already being down. Leftovers can make a play for the core, and they should be able to get it. There is Li Ming available, so you always have to worry about that reset potential, but it should be pretty darn difficult for her to get these resets. Leftovers immediately go straight for the keep, and next will be the core.
What a turnaround here, seriously. A fantastic taunt against Genji. The kill does not quite go through. X-Strike into bunker immediately, and then the Planet Cracker of DAB just wrecks them completely. No escape path for Greymane, for Malfurion, and all of a sudden what looked like a huge advantage for the Zealots turns around against them. The core is being attacked. Meridian falls. The defense is still going strong. They're trying, but it's only 2 heroes that are available.
But the core is still at 60%. Li Ming is doing her best here to get these resets. Genji working those auto attacks, so is Linked as well. 5 seconds for Malfurion to be up, but it's not going to be in time. Leftovers able to get another victory against the Zealots, and they'll go up 2-1.
I actually think if they keep one more hero alive, they can defend this.
Yeah,
one more hero is all that they need. And I don't know, I come back to that second tribute a lot where we had the Dehaka burrow to the top lane. As we said before, either you burrow earlier so that you can actually contest the tribute, or you don't burrow at all and you get the value through the experience at the bot lane.
Sure.
But that didn't really work out for them. Then they just gave up too many objectives. There were too many tributes where they could have angled to at least delay them a bit. Even the first one. We see the first one spawning at the bot lane. Might have been the first one, third one, not 100% certain on it, but we have the camp pushing through the top. If they just contested a bit longer, that camp continues to get value, but they get zoned back the entire time, or they just drop all their cooldowns at the same time, don't stagger them, and that makes it easier for the leftovers to claim it. We talked about that before, though. They have a new shot caller. They still need to some time to find that rhythm properly.
Yeah.
We can definitely tell what potential that lineup has. But it's a rough series for them, and it's one of those games that can really decide of what you're fighting for in this part of in its first part of Phase 2 of HGC.
Phase 2, Part 1, yeah.
I had it at the end.
Jeez. Still for me, though, Black Kidney being able to survive that initial taunt from Garrosh, being able to drop down the X-Strike, and then jump into the bunker, having that presence of mind, that's usually a moment where a lot of players just panic completely. If you're getting taunted into a Garrosh, you're walking into a bush, but he had full faith in his teammates and his ability to get out of that pick, and DAB, of course, cleaned it up perfectly. That was really a great moment to watch for those teams.
But I, at the same time, also want to say I want to see more Garrosh from Robodoba.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, he is so dominant with that hero. That one move against Muradin, he just sits there, he waits for the storm ult, dodges, moves in, taunts, flips, stuns, and immediately the kill. Shortly after, he saves Malfurion. They lose the team fight, but he did everything right there. The amount of, the impact that he has with that hero can not be, I mean, he's just crazy on that.
He looks like a world-class player when he's on a Garrosh. He's able to step up and make the plays for his team. Let's go to game number 4. Leftovers are up 2-1 over the Zealots, and they'll be looking for their 3rd victory in this best-of-5 series. Leftovers choosing the battleground, as Zealots will take first pick, and we are going to Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Tomb of the Spider Queen and the first pick for the Zealots now. So, yeah, this is already a bit of a dangerous position for Quacknix and his boys to be in.
Yeah.
If they lose against the Leftovers, it sets definitely the pace for the rest of Part 1. So it's going to be, again, important who finds themselves at the bottom of the standings, who's going to contest the offline spots, and who's going to have these safe middle positions where you at least make sure that you avoid the Crucible. Not going to be easy. This is going to be a crucial series for both of them, and so far the Leftovers have taken the lead.
Yeah, and I do wonder if there's something that Zealots are thinking about where they want to be when it comes to these top 8 standings. Are they playing to go to an online event, or are they playing just to be in the middle of the pack and continue to grow? I know Chris in particular was someone that really wanted to go to offline events, and they did do it at the Western Clash, obviously, but I want to know with this new roster what the plan is for Quacknix and crew.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about?
Nothing.
Did I just completely repeat what you said?
Huh?
Did I completely repeat what you said?
No, you had a small mix-up there, but it's fine.
That's okay. That's whatever. It happens. I'm human.
I'm giggling about that way more than it actually deserves, but you know me, like I have these little things that I'm hung up on.
You just laugh. Puny Trixler, not efficient with things.
To me, that's funny. Sue me. Like, I can't help it. It's not like I made a decision on that.
Fair enough, my friend. All right. Well,
but yeah, they are at the online event, so they qualified for that already. But when it comes to the offline event, I think Quacknix has actually talked about that.
You're right. Oh my gosh, that was the detail, offline and online.
I am weird, okay? Like, I can't help that. Leave me alone.
This guy. All right, so Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's all about the wave clear. You guys know the drill as we get ready for a European standard. Will DAB crew be able to get this victory? So far, it seems like the Battle of the Blaze continues to be another trend that we're seeing here in HGC.
I mean, I wouldn't really mind a Game 5, to be honest, between the two teams. They both played well so far. I think on Curse, Zealots had quite a few opportunities to maybe even close that.
That's one of your taglines nowadays.
What?
It's a triple, I wouldn't mind a Game 5, and that's interesting. That's Caldor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
mind. I want Game 5. Of course I do. The more games, the better. That's always the rule.
Totally down as well here.
If you can't deal with it, you're casting with the wrong person, okay?
I mean, I'm dealing with it. I'm just saying, man. I'm down. Oh, it looks like we're having that bug once again. Let's see if we can get that fixed here.
Nah, this is just someone griefing. I think that was Zarmini leading the game. I can understand that because this is so exciting that I myself, I'm already sitting here and was like... But Zarmini is just also playing, so he's just like a little bit too nervous, and he drops out of the game because he's trying to create these 2-3 minutes that allow him to just calm down a little bit and focus on the next one. Yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah, he meant to hit start game, hit leave game instead. You know, bit of an error shaking when you're playing such an intense matchup. Yep. I've been there before. Misclicking. It's a mistake, dude. It hurts. Have you ever misclicked a monstrosity instead of an ultimate evolution? I've done that.
I don't think that you, of all people, don't misclick that.
Yeah, it was a mask. I made that up.
It
was intentional.
Oops! I didn't mean to do
I get
that.
to have the enjoyable heroic. Yes! I got yelled at by Moonfairs yesterday about that.
I mean, here's the thing. Monty is pretty awesome.
What's that?
Monty is pretty awesome.
Monty? Is that what you name Monstrosity?
Since the game has been released, Monstrosity was Monty and
No.
Gary the Monstrosity.
Gary, I know.
Monty the Monstrosity and Gary the Gargantuan. You can go back and look at VODs that have always been.
I know Gary the Gargantuan, but Monty the Monstrosity?
Hell yeah.
That's lame. Give him a cool name like Carl.
Kaysil, you still remember Kaysil? Of course you don't because you're in an A-pleb, so I'm gonna let that slide for a second. We kind of adopted you towards Europe, but those are things you need to learn. You need to pick up on that if you really want to
like
be
Monte.
Like, no.
Do you like Monte? Let us know.
Not Monte, Monty.
Monty.
Monty
Both
the
are lame.
Monstrosity. What do you mean both are lame? Gary the Gargantuan and Monty the Monstrosity.
Gary's awesome. Gary makes sense, but Monty the Monstrosity.
To be honest, if Techa is listening right now, it's going to take about 5 seconds until you have a tweet.
Okay.
How can you disrespect KSL? Like, that's unbelievable.
I like tweets and I like
You
Tetra.
don't even know who
Down.
that is. That makes things worse.
Life sucks, man. That's what we learned today at the HGC. Hashtag it. 2018 Trixler. Life sucks. Tracer gets banned out immediately here.
Shocking.
Won the match.
Totally didn't see that coming in this game.
I didn't either, man. Blaze gets banned out, though. Leftovers realizing the strength of that character. Bunker's still pretty good, man.
Alright, so the Genji first pick here again. So we had Genji basically banned out or early picked in nearly every single game. The only hero that has risen in priority above Genji in that sense was Blaze, but Blaze now being banned out allows Zealots to go for it. So Quacknix again finds himself on him. Dehaka and Deckard for that zone control.
Dehaka and Decker, the double D's coming in here for Leftovers. Zealots, how are they gonna find? I just realized what I said. Zealots are gonna look for their kills with the Genji. Are we gonna get Chromie? Chromie Genji, man. It's pretty good together on Team with Spider Queen. I wouldn't mind it. What are you writing down?
Huh?
What are you writing down?
I'm just writing down the double Ds.
I thought you were gonna tell John on me.
So, you confused me a little bit. Now I'm distracted. Okay, so Zealots.
I think that's the intention. Continue forward.
I can't. Like,
you have to.
Okay, so by the way, this is what happens if you give Mama Breeze your notes. So that's what immediately happens on the side of
the
the
Fnatic logo.
Yep. I entrusted her with that for like 30 seconds, and within 30 seconds, I immediately stick it.
She got
Fnatic stickers everywhere. There's the Chromie that you wanted. And we have Johanna. Now, we talked about Johanna already a bit. We saw her earlier in the series, in several of the games actually, either banned or picked that Team Liquid played. Now we have her again. Massive priority rise that we saw on her end at the mid-season brawl. And now we have that combo completely executed on their part. And I actually like what they have. I mean, you have the poke, you can use Genji to finish any target off. This time Malfurion gets banned out because they didn't prioritize him highly enough, but I already like what Zealots are running.
Yeah, for me, the one thing I didn't like about this type of composition is it's very feast or famine. Like, you need Chromie to be hitting those skill shots. The good news is Chris is a wonderful Chromie player. This guy was advocating for Chromie before she was even being played at the highest level of play. So this should be fine. And then, of course, you have Quack on Genji. They should be able to get these kills pretty darn easily. Medivh taken away. If there's something that you're ever scared of or any blow-up coming your way, Medivh is just an immediate great counter to have. Having that temporal loop being negated by a force of will is a strong thing to pick up. So the Medivh ban makes a lot of sense.
I could have seen Muradin being banned out here. Now, the two heroes that we oftentimes saw against Chromie were Maiev and Muradin.
That's true. That's a good point.
Every single time Chromie winds up her animation, you jump in, get the stun, or you get a tether. It's just a question of, do you really want to play a triple frontline against Chromie and against Johanna here and commit to a Maiev on top of Dehaka? But Muradin, I think, is a pretty safe option if you want to threaten Chromie. Now, of course, we can still see a huge amount of tanks here at this point in time. We have Muradin available, we could still see Garrosh, Mopsio played it a lot too, and of course Diablo, which we've already seen in this series, played by Mopsio. But Muradin would be the one that really stands out to me when it comes to controlling Chromie and putting pressure on him.
Don't forget about Garrosh. There's Maiev, there's Diablo coming in there. So the tether and the ability to dive in, try and pick off a target, helpful against Genji if you can't get to Chromie.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because I like Maiev, and again, I highlight Maiev and Muradin, but I actually thought they would commit rather to Muradin than to Maiev because they're now so front heavy.
Sure.
So I thought they would let Maiev go and instead go for Muradin and combo that off with the second backliner, but they go the other way. They go for the triple front line, but they add Diablo to the equation now too. And that, of course, gives you even more control in terms of like, oh, it gives you more aggression.
I mean, you have to get on them, so you might as well just go full melee and just say, you know what, let's do it. It will be a little bit difficult with Johanna. Condemns if she's playing it well, and the time traps will be something that will be in the way of Leftovers, but at least now they have the ability to find a target and try to delete it. We're going to need a little bit more damage from them on the 5th side, but let's go ahead and look over to the Zealots here. The side lane is going to be popping in pretty darn soon. Would Malthael make sense here? It is Zarmany.
That's why I would rather say Sonya.
Yeah, true. Leo. I was looking for that percent damage. Leo did the same thing here with Drain Hope.
What I was actually looking for, what I expected, was maybe something like Sonya Uther.
Just let Uther go completely on the backline once they go for the engage.
I mean, just simply that you have Sonya with the Divine Shield, Sonya also with Genji.
I just feel like Sonya positioned herself in a spot to where Diablo, when he goes for the dive, he has a way to get back, and there'd be so much control at that point.
I mean, Sonya mainly because it's still Zealots with Zarmany.
Sure.
Zarmany is one of the heroes or one of the players that had the biggest affinity for Sonya as a hero. But Leoric definitely works in. I mean, against Diablo, you have no tool where you can drain him down. You have also later on the Entomb available. Stukov then with the silence here as well against counter engage. Whenever you jump on Chrome, you just simply get a lurking arm in there. No one is in trouble. So I like that aspect of it. You just have to make sure that Maiev is not getting the perfect engage here. But Zealots have definitely a lot of tools and a lot of interrupts as well against any attempted turn-in.
So who do you like more?
It's actually a little bit rough. I mean, I really like what Zealots ran on the last map. It's just like they had their teamfight problem towards the end. Phoenix being played by DAB again. I think Zealots can poke them down on the front line. It really comes down on if they can make these snap engages happen. Leftovers, that is, if they can, with that heavy melee setup, make the quick engage happen and go down. But I feel if Zealots play their cards right, with especially the Chromie, Johanna, and Stukov there, I think they should be able to dominate the early game and snowball it with the objective.
Yeah, the control for me is way too high for Zealots. Chromie and Johanna, wonderful pair on this battleground. And we'll see how it plays out here for the Zealots, who will be here on the left side. Caldor, the honors are yours.
Well, to the left, we have Shat, of course, on Stukov, Admiral Gonzalez, and now Quarknix on Genji. Chris finds himself on Chromie, as expected. Roba-Doba on the other hand with Johanna here, and Zarmany on that side lane playing Leoric this time.
On the right side, in the red, the Leftovers. Boss playing Dahaka, DAB on Phoenix, Linked on Deckard, the Kidney on Maiev, and Mobsia back on Diablo.
Alright, Austin's Renewal taken on level 1, going full for the Korean build. No Consume Vitality here. At the same time now, we have for Johanna the Laws of Hope claimed on level 1. Definitely a really nice setup for them when it comes to control on the map. And they have also a lot of poke potential against this melee heavy setup that the Leftovers are running. But the engage potential on the side of the Leftovers is strong if they can pull it off completely.
Maiev showing the strength of what she can do against Chromie. Immediately dropping down that teleport, want to try and hop on top of her, forces Chris to pull away, which allows the team to move in for an engage, but Zealots hold it well with the time trap in the middle, and then of course Leoric stepping up, a little bit too difficult, and Leftovers had to pull away. But they are focusing on the wave clear, immediately trying to get the upper hand here. Johanna will do her best to slow that down.
Yeah, rotation down to the bot lane now as we have Genji starting to move in together with Zarmany's Leoric, but no kill there, nothing available. I really have to say that the Zealots are actually starting to do pretty nicely, especially with the stacking. The first engage already allowed 5 stacks on Chromie to be accumulated here by Chris. Now he has the Bronze Talons as well. And they are doing extremely well in the wave clear. And as long as the Leftovers don't find any kills with the engage that they are trying to pull off through Mopsio, through Potipos and Maiev, that early game should be in the hands of the Zealots.
Yeah, it should, especially when we get towards level 8, when Slowing Sands come alive. I'm assuming we're going to get here for Chromie. Could make a case for a Temporal Loop, but Slowing Sands give you a little bit more control, being able to reveal when your opponent is going for that turn in. Leftovers trying to make a play for the wave play here, moving straight for this Nightcap to get middle pushing in, but Zealots are answering back to themselves by rotating the bottom and working on these Giants, or actually, are they just going for a Dahaka? They have spread out pretty hard here and haven't quite made the play they were looking for.
They have to rotate in the middle now to deal with the camp, and that was a super early camp to be taken by Leftovers. So that is going to force them to react for sure, and that's where not only Chris is poking away, but we have Shat now also trying to get a bit of wave there, and Roba-Doba in the same boat. They need to be careful here, but the shots are fired. Here comes the silence too, and that makes it a bit more difficult for the Leftovers to get proper value out of this. But Roba-Doba is definitely being attacked. Blikini jumps in, actually.
Why?
This is a very good question. I mean, apparently he's tired of life and thought that it was a good moment to end it.
Oh, I guess I felt that the gate was about to fall in the middle lane, right? So he was going to be able to have the pull in, but they just didn't quite have the damage there to clear it up quick enough.
I mean, either he misclicked or they really thought that with him jumping in and them focusing on the gate, they can just drop it and maybe go in for a target and get a kill there. But it was definitely an aggressive move by them. And yeah, overly aggressive.
Sometimes he pick Monstrosity, and sometimes he teleport behind the gates and die. That's just life sometimes in Heroes of the Storm. And today we learned.
That's totally not how it works.
Another combo though, and Chris gets picked off, and that's what you have to be careful of when you are a Chromie player, especially in the early game before you get that timeout at level 11. The ability for your opponent, if they have dive to jump on you, is something that is very scary, especially when you have a coordinator team.
Yeah, so for now also, we have of course more wave clear on level 4, and thanks to Neil Peasants on Leoric's side, so he's going to have an easier time clearing out the bot lane. I mean, they have a good or an easy time in the sense anyways that they have Genji, so Genji's going to jump down every now and then to pressure Dehaka, and that should allow Leoric to just dominate that lane quite nicely. He has to be careful that Maiev doesn't rotate down too heavily, but with the Wraith Walk, he should always be able to move away from that. Again, Mopsio with the engage attempt here. Already slow in the back. Chris gets locked down, but no one jumping on them just yet. Well, just kidding. There's Blikidney. No kill just yet, though, but the pressure on Chris is just always there.
It's always there. Genji as well, putting pressure on DAB, though. He's dancing pretty nicely with his teammates, though. Able to kite on back and finally look to almost get a kill on Genji. Zealots survive, get tapped off, and come back on in. Now, there are enough gems here for a turn-in for Zealots, and Leftovers are close themselves. They've been denied a decent amount of gems already. This Pony Boss faces off here in the middle. Diablo gets locked down, but Blikidney comes in, finds a Stukov, and cleans him up.
Yeah, down he goes. There's the attempt by Chris to anticipate the movements of the Leftovers, but he just misses out on that. Roba-Doba walks away, but this is 2 kills against 1. The Zealots are, in general, just doing pretty well, but they have to try and control still the turn-in points, and that forces them into the middle of the map. And that's where the Leftovers are meeting them with an engage-heavy setup and try to stack the tether on Maiev with the CC that Diablo offers. And by the way, also Diablo adjusting his build a little bit from what we've seen from Mopsio in game number 1 on Diablo.
Going for a little bit more sustain here, moving straight into the W build, something that was a little bit popular for a little bit. But there is something to consider. Zealots don't mind continuing to go for these scrims, although we do have Leftovers starting to get that drop-off. They need one more gem. Chromie is starting to get stacked here, sitting at 30 of the stacks already. Of the 60, she needs to get that Echo.
And that's really not shabby what Chris pulls off so far. There's a lot of engages and brawling happening, and he's just getting those shots in.
Yep.
But the Red Web Weavers are coming now down, and this is really where the Zealots have to be careful, because they have the better wave clear, or they had the better rotation going, but it's just the kills that came in for the Leftovers that are definitely throwing a bit of a wrench into their plans now. So they have to make sure that they're cleaning this out before it gets too much of a momentum swing for the Leftovers.
Slowing Sands comes out immediately, though, from Chromie. This will help slow down the push that's coming their way. And she's going to be looking to control that front line. Diablo in particular will have to play around that. You see him sidestepping immediately while the rest of Leftovers start to push in the middle. Trying to grab the attention of the Zealots. They can rotate the top lane if they would like to, as Genji's dealing with Maiev. And the rest of the Leftovers come to the middle lane. They're going to look at this fort. Yeah,
once again, time traps right there. And we're also having the middle pushed extremely heavily right now, and they have a tough time moving into that. So this is starting to look really good for the Leftovers. If they drop the fort here, they are very likely to get towards level 10 extremely quickly. And that would give them the heroic abilities, and also therefore the ability to dominate the turn-in points, and maybe even dive behind another fort and take that down.
That middle fort definitely took a bit of a beating. Mopsio's trying to get away. Will use it well, actually, to charge away. Turns around with the rest of his team.
To be honest,
many waves.
This is starting to become a disaster for the Zealots. If they can't get a kill here, and they kind of need to, they're trying. Diablo is down, and that was an important one because the middle fort is about to fall, and level 10 is going to be in the hands of the Leftovers any second now.
That's how important, though, Slowing Sands is for Chromie against a main tank player. Mopsio unable to get out. There was no exit route available for him to shadow charge to, and him being slowed down equals easy lineups there for that Dragon's Eye into the Sandblast. Immediate kill, immediate pickup, and Zealots be feeling good about that one. Diablo comes back and won't have the Night Camp grabbed as the Leftovers look to defend.
That was such an important kill against Diablo. It forced Leftovers back, and if they don't lose Diablo there, they get the level 10, because, again, the fort in the mid lane fell shortly after he died, just to the minions alone. if he doesn't fall, they can use that level 10 to jump behind the bottom fort, maybe even get a kill, and if not, then at least take the second fort down. So now Zealots have at least their own web weavers, and that allows them to get some of the experience back and breaks through some structures themselves.
Now the best part there is that at least also Diablo loses out on his souls, so that means any poke that comes in will be definitely very difficult.
Phoenix!
DAB is low, drops a salvo, cannot retreat. Here comes the stay a while and listen, but it is too late. Zealots able to find a kill, and now they'll be able to open up the middle of the map.
Yeah, that momentum swing was just insane. Getting Phoenix here is fantastic because there's not a lot of wave clear for Leftovers, and that's the only range damage that they had. They don't have any more range damage, so everyone else has to heavily commit to the front line. X-Strike comes in, Diablo is down, there's the shove. They're trying to go for the counter kill against Johanna, but that doesn't quite happen. Isolation was strong, but still the trade was there. D being used, and now they still defend, but at this point the Zealots are fully back in experience range.
And imagine if Phoenix was actually there in that fight too. That Warden's Cage connected on multiple members, Lightning Breath slowing them down. If they had that salvo, that would have been a kill on Johanna and maybe even more. So Zealots taking that opportunity to take away their DPS, pushing in the middle of the map with it. However, with that all being said and done, infrastructure is still healthy for the Leftovers.
The one thing I want to still highlight is that we have 46 stacks on Chromie at this point, so that's not...
Yikes.
That's pretty decent. Especially when you have these linear 5 versus 5 fights that we just saw. It's so difficult for Chromie to miss the Sandblast. You just fire in the middle and you usually guaranteed you hit at least one. So right now, they're doing well with that. And once that's completed and she stacks up even more damage, the late game is going to be pretty difficult for the Leftovers to handle. Especially since Deckard is just missing that element of burst healing someone.
And she'll continue to fire away. The Sex keep coming in. There's 48 as it lands on Mopsio. The slowing sands to control the space. The Night Camp in the middle to pull away the attention from the Leftovers. Won't be able to get their turn in. That should buy room for Zealots to get their own turn in. And Tomb comes online in the bottom lane. Gonna have a nice little burrow just in time. The Sounds comes out a little bit too late there for Shad. So the Pony Boss is actually to escape out of here. Leftovers thinking about turning this around. They go in. Shadow Charge into a flip. Lakindi moves in, gets some damage on that back line. Stay a while, listening, pulls them in. Pony Boss, can they find the kill? Salvo comes out. There is one. There is possibly two. No, Zormany able to escape. But Lakindi comes in with the Phantom Knives.
Yeah, that's the double kill right there. And that shove that we just saw was massive. It was really good. Pulled Diablo back or pushed him back to the end of the screen there, so he couldn't really engage, but then of course the turnaround there. The cool thing was really that we had Dehaka just dodging everything, because if the coordination would have been a little bit better on the Zealot side,
he's dead.
That silence would have killed him, but he is able to still go for the burrow. He dodges the damage from Chromie and then is able to walk out, but that could have definitely turned the other way. Now Zarmany is back to business, can't interrupt though, and we have Red Weavers coming down again. 13 should be ready to defend, but this game is just going back and forth at this point. So it's like this is all over the place.
Even on kills, but Leftovers are going to try and make sure it's not even anymore. As they open up the bottom lane, the top lane's already under pressure from Dehaka. Zealots turn their attention to the middle to make sure they don't have to deal with that and they can spread out afterwards. But the rest of Leftovers move down to the bottom lane. They want to open up this keep wall. All they have to do is watch out for Chromie damage, and they should be able to grab it pretty easily. Yeah,
Virulent Reaction on 13 is now ready for Stukov, and that would allow them to just lock someone into the silence. And if they can get that pulled off, then Chromie has an easy time delivering the damage, and they can even follow it up with either the Tomb or the Blessed Shield. But so far, they need to make sure that they don't lose too much down here. Already nice move. Robodoba with a trade is able to move out. Lightning Breath comes through. Kidney does not get the tether off or anything, but we have the salvo with a bit of damage, but immediately negated by a quick tap of Robodoba on the fountain.
Well, damage there on Chris, Dehaka was able to push in that top lane in the middle lane, and you see the results of that Weaver push. 15 and a quarter experience to about 13 and 3/4 here for Zealots. Zealots will have the turn-in available. They only need to drop off 5 more gems so they can answer back if they would like soon, but they have to be careful because Leftovers will be making a play for a level 16, and that talent tier will be hard to push into.
Yeah, one of the reasons, though, why the Zealots still have a lot of comeback potential is that they haven't dropped a single fort yet. So that gives a structural advantage to the Leftovers and fallback options on all lanes as well, where it's just really difficult for the Zealots to chase. But at the same time, it also means there's a lot of static experience to be gained. So if you get a turn-in and you're able to push with it, you can easily close the experience gap and even outperform your opponent in XP.
Speaking of the experience, Leftovers close to that 16. Poke constantly coming out from Leftovers already. Dehaka is actually going to try and get a giant push from the bottom lane, which could be very pivotal here. Pull away Zealots with her. Combo comes out. DAB is low. Stay a while, listen, gets interrupted, but DAB is able to escape.
That was the viral interaction, but Chromie again is getting jumped. No, make that Stukov. He's down. Chromie himself also in a bit of trouble in the back, but it's Genji who falls next. Now the focus is on Leoric, and Zamani is very unlikely to get out of this one. Actually, they don't chase him. They go for a Robot Doba instead, letting Leoric go for now. And then at the end of the day, both of the tanks are able to escape.
Did you see that isolation from Polyboss? Genji in the top right corner gets hit just by a pixel. Beautiful skill shot there for Polyboss, allowing for 2 kills to come in. And now they turn around and grab the boss, and they'll be able to make a play here for keeping the top left.
I actually can't believe that they let Leoric go in this case. They started to shift the focus onto Johanna instead.
He's just a sack of bones.
Leoric.
You love it.
Yeah. What I tried to say was they could have actually taken him out if they focused on him, but they shifted the focus and tried to get Johanna instead. 63 stacks on Chromie, so already done with that. Web Weavers are now trying to counter the boss push here. They still need to pick up an entire level, and Diablo is actually pushing through the bot lane. It's now starting to join the rest of the team. But still, this is a setup where the Zealots are starting to really be in a lot of trouble here. They are going to be able to defend this, or at least they should be able to pull that off. Web Weavers are pushing through the bot lane, and the Haka is defending middle. So it's a 5 versus 4 here at the top, where the Leftovers have to be a bit careful. Actually, they're going in. The Haka is finally burrowing in, but he's going to be a little bit late to the party.
Lightning going to be coming out there. Damage on Chris. The back line should be able to escape. DAB does get pushed away. But the keep seems to be the main focus for the Leftovers. Zealots are able to survive the onslaught coming in, but the keep is going to fall. Catapult pushing in the top lane, and the best part about having Dahaka, he already worked on the middle lane. They lose the fort in the bottom right, but Leftovers can peel back and clear that out.
I'm actually a bit surprised how well that went for Leftovers. Diablo charging in that aggressively. I expected there to be a silence a second later and them to going for it, but that was still on cooldown, so he chose his window pretty well, and they are able to